Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. I hope that you are doing amazing, wonderful, awesome, and that you are getting some rest. It is so good to have you join us for another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. And I am always excited when I have the opportunity to interview courageous, amazing entrepreneurs, specifically in spaces where I am not strong in. I am not a tax thought leader. I have not won awards related to being an amazing CPA, but I will tell you that my guest has and is super considered like a guru in this space. So before I introduce my guest, I want to introduce myself and welcome you again to the real journey of entrepreneurship, because I always say that I have the best seat in the house when I get to interview courageous entrepreneurs who are willing to share the truth about what it means to be in this space. And I am the founder and CEO of 11375. We are interested in working with other businesses to help them to reach their business goals. How? Through a couple of ways, through training, education, and also, more importantly, providing strategy within the government contracting space. We are a business that has secured contracts with the city and state of New York and are making use of the MWBE certification. So if you're looking for some of our services, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at 11375. So let me pause a bit. And taxes, stress, being a business owner, trying to cut corners is one of the things that I'm sure my next guest has seen it all. Orume Hays is the CPA founder and CEO of Hays CPA. Certified Tax Public Accountant Services is one of the things that are provided through Orume's work. And I can tell you that we met a few months ago through a business accelerator, and there was one specific class that we all took together. Orume was not sweating, not at all. The rest of us were, because we had, inexperience really with understanding tax code. But it's not just taxes. It's really the overall wellness of the business. But I'm going to pause and I'm just going to introduce and bring on my guests, because you all know that I can tell you stories about the guests, but they can tell the best stories when they are introducing themselves. So, hey, Orume, how are you?
Hello there, Anita. How are you? It is so good to see you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for welcoming me into your space, into your community.
Orume, now if you Google Orume Hays, let me just tell you all of the accolades. I'm bragging because I actually know Orume, like met, sat, have a business relationship. So now I can say I know someone who's a superstar in the accounting space. And how cool is that? But Orume, congratulations on all of your recent success. And I mean, it is rapid and furious, but it's awesome because we all need your help. So please tell us who you are, what you really do besides keeping us in order as business owners. Do tell, Orume.
Oh, well, where do I start from? What can I say? I am a simple girl, a simple lady, a small town girl that had no idea what I was getting into when I got into
Mm,
the world of accounting. So, accounting was not my first love at all. I had no idea. When I got my first degree, when I first went to school in Nigeria, I got my bachelor's degree in sociology and anthropology. So I kind of fell into the world of accounting. When I came into America, what looking for work, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I fell into modeling, fashion modeling, and after that, like a lot of fashion models, you make the transition into acting. So I actually went into I took a 2 year a formal program in New York, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I went into their 2 year drama program, graduated from that. I loved it. My teachers loved me. They're like, "Oh, we love your roommate, but we think you might have a little bit of problems on Broadway because why? Because I have an accent. In case you haven't noticed, you haven't heard me
mm,
speak. But I was like so sure of my acting skills. I said, "Oh, they'll love me. Folks will love me. I'll get all the gigs and whatnot." And of course, what my professors, acting coaches
mm,
at college, or rather at the AADA, what they said was that it should be a challenge, and it was a challenge. So after I graduated, I started to audition, and I got some okay, decent roles, but they were what way, 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 way off Broadway, right? So
mm,
and so I knew that, hey, I don't want to be, not that there's anything wrong with waiting tables or working in a restaurant or anything like that, but I knew that I wanted to have a great lifestyle. I love the finer things of life. And how do you get to afford the finer things of life if you don't have a really secure job or something that's bringing in steady income instead of waiting for this other thing? So I went back to school, got a second bachelor's degree in accounting with a minor in finance, and then I had a couple of professors who were CPAs, and I knew immediately that I wanted to become a certified public accountant. Sat for the CPA exam, worked in corporate America for about 10 years, and then 6 years ago, actually 7 years, it's really something. Anita, how long has your business? How long have you been operating your business? Let me just ask you that for a minute.
9 years.
9 years. Can you imagine? You could say I still have problems saying that I have been in business now for 7 years. It's like it's still a shocker to me because I think it seems as if it was just yesterday that I was an employee, managing a team of people and servicing my employer and my colleagues in the workspace. And but I took a leap of faith and I decided to hang up my shingle. I knew that I had learned a lot in
Mm,
corporate America. I had a lot of skills, I had a lot of knowledge. I know that there are entrepreneurs out there, other small businesses, small entrepreneurs who cannot afford the services of one of the bigger CPA firms. And I know that, there, as in life, we're cut from all sizes, right? We have a lot of demands, different things. And I just decided that, hey, I have something to share to with people. And so I hung up my own shingle. And it wasn't something I decided to do just like that. My mom was an entrepreneur. If you want to know a hardworking person, my mom was a local, back in Nigeria, a local merchant. She did not have formal education. She made it through high school, equivalent of high school. But she became a successful international merchant, and she did so she had a lot of business savvy and all of that stuff. I used to look at her in awe that how could she do all of that stuff, and I never thought I had it in me to become an entrepreneur. As most accountants, we're always comfortable behind the scenes. We're numbers people, we're doing our work, we're servicing our employer, our clients, and all of that stuff. but we don't want to be the person out front. And so it took me a while to to get over that. And now, luckily I am getting recognized by my community, by my profession, because of what I have done in the profession, what I continue to do in the profession. I also teach, I give back, I volunteer, I do a lot. So I've received a number of accolades in the last 3 years, and I do not take any of them lightly, but I do appreciate that recognition by my peers in the profession.
Okay. First I want to acknowledge is that I don't think your accolades are luck. Let's start with that, because you didn't just you sound like you put strategic thought and effort into where you are. The things that we do don't come overnight. So not only do you have serious experience in the corporate world, so you've worked for other people. So it's not. I don't personally think it's luck. It comes from the work and the effort and the mistakes that you've made as a business owner, and you deserve all that you have accomplished. So I'll start with that first. The
Thanks,
second,
and I'll take it. I receive it and I'll take it.
yeah,
I accept it. Yes, I earned it. So it's like it
earned
didn't
it.
come easy. So yes,
No,
I'll take it. Thank you for that.
absolutely not. The second thing I want to say is you mentioned you're stepping out on faith, and I want to just follow up on that in terms of being in business, because what we see, and I'm sure you don't spend a lot of time on social, but we do engage in that space because we are in business. It gives the perception that this space that we're in is easy. So would you be able to describe, so you talked about generally, your transition into this space. Would you be able to describe what were your costs? Like, did you have all the money in the beginning? Did you have to how did you decide on your type of business structure? What did all of that look like for you in the beginning? Take me back.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. So, and this is something that anyone who's thinking about, whether you're a new business owner or you're still currently an employee and you're thinking about starting your business journey, you want to do this. So, because I had good jobs when I was working for corporate America, so I had my piggy bank, right? I had that safety net, I had that cushion that I knew that, hey, if I'm going to go out on a limb, if I'm going to open up my doors, I know that clients are not going to come in on day one. Just because you have a service to sell or products to sell does not mean that folks yeah, you can do your research. Some people don't do research. That's one thing that you should do. Make sure you know your market. What is that product or service that you're offering? Is there a market for it? Is there a demand for it? CPAs, accounting work, folks, people always need that. People need there are lots of businesses. Not everybody, like you said, Anita, not everybody has the I don't want to say the brains, but not everybody's a numbers person. You hire you focus on what you're good at, and then you delegate the other things that you're not good at. So to go back to how I got started, I had enough savings that I knew. I gave myself a timeline. I said that once I decided that I was going to open up shop, I said to myself, Orume, I do not want to go back to become an employee, but I gave myself I gave myself 2 years. That if my business did not take off within 2 years, I would go back and go back to corporate America and go work for someone else. But I said to myself, please, Lord, do not make me go back to this door. I'm closing that door behind me. I just want to keep moving forward. So then I had enough resources in the bank. You want to make sure as a new entrepreneur that you have enough savings, and you want to take other things into consideration. Do you have a family that you have to, you can't, just because you're going on this journey, if you have uh, other family members that you are responsible for, you want to make sure you're doing the responsible thing, and not everybody is going to suffer on that, that ride with you, that they can still maintain other people in your household. They can still maintain the lifestyle that they're used to, and they're not suffering because of the income is now reduced, so to say. So I had that initial investment, and then I did a lot of research, right? So I first of all, before I did the research, I'll talk about the initial opening cost. If you're going into a service business, your cost is really low compared to a product type of business. If I'm going to be making things, or if I'm going to be opening up a restaurant, you're talking about buying ingredients. You're talking about opening up a location, right? A restaurant location or a shop location. Right now, you can do e-commerce online, but there are things that there are different types of businesses where your startup cost is going to be relatively low. If you're in a service business, you definitely have low investment. So all I needed was a laptop, a couple of computer software programs, and really I was set to go. And when I started, I wanted to make sure that I set up my structure so that I was running it like a business. So I did not want to work from home, even though I had the space to have a business office at home. So I did my budgets. You want to go through, list all of your expected expenses, and then be moderate when you're looking at your income, because like I said, your customers are not going to come in the door right on day one. So start up with a budget, and make your numbers as realistically as possible, as realistic as you can. Look at your competitors, do a lot of research. I spent a lot of time at the public library looking at what other CPA firms are. There's a lot of information that's available to the public, right? So you want to look at what your competitors are doing. Based on that, look at their websites, look at the financials that are the public companies that are out there, and then structure yourself based on that. So that was what I did. And guess what else I utilized? Score mentors, right? We have so many free programs in the city, anywhere, wherever you are, whatever city you are, there are lots of free services that you can capitalize on. And I utilize all of those services. So I had a couple of good score mentors, after I did my budgets and my proposal, my business plan, running through them, did everything. So I went through the process in a real way. It's really important that you go through. If you want to have a successful business, it's really important that you don't try and wing it, and you go through, try and put some structures in place.
All right, so I'm gonna start backwards.
Okay, all right.
Because all of it was delicious, every piece that you mentioned. But I want to start with reduction of the shame of using free services, right? So you started. So I happen to be a New York City SCORE mentor.
Ooh, good, congrats. That's great. Right? Thank you for what you do. Yeah.
Right. And right. So before I started making some money within the business, I sat through all of the services that are with the Department of Small Business Services, through it's called PTAC, I think now. All of these services are part of our tax dollars that we invest in, but they're also funded either federally or through the state. There's state money allocated for these services. And there's no shame in allocating time, because initially, as Orume stated so eloquently, your clients are not immediately coming running down the door. They're not. One, because they don't know you exist. That's the first thing. But number two, you may not have everything in order in the beginning. None of us did. And a lot of us are still working through new processes, even if we've been in business for some time. It's a long game. And so tapping into and having a budget, as was mentioned, a mentor, or as I affectionately say, an OG, original guardian, to help you through these process. And 90% of this stuff is free. It is free. So Orume plug SCORE. I'm going to do a comment and with SCORE New York City, because that's where I am based in New York City. And I can tell you that there are so many qualified mentors, retired out of from business and current entrepreneurs that can help you to navigate that space. Another thing that Arume mentioned was about having savings. Sometimes when we're starting, you may not have those resources immediately available. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with still maintaining employment while you are navigating this space. Because I can tell you, I'm in it full time, a roommate's in it full time, and it is not for the faint of heart. I will say that. We do not, depending on your client, I don't get paid every 2 weeks. I
Mm-hmm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to budget between those cash flow gaps and fill them in the best way you know how. And so preparing for this space so that when you take a leap of faith, as a roommate did, it will be a lot more to swallow than to struggle. Planning is necessary and needed. So I wanted to elevate that. And a roommate, I'm going to do the comma and. So
Yes.
part of your services are dealing directly with small business accounting and bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was curious about your CFO services because that's really new to me as a business owner. I heard about it while we were in class, and I had
Mm-hmm.
no clue that was something that you can outsource from your business. You want to describe that in more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with a number of clients, and I was very lucky actually when I opened up my firm, because my biggest clients, and actually also still now up to today, one of my first clients and still now my biggest clients. It's an international firm, and they also happen to be one of my former employers. It wasn't the last employer that I worked with, but they're one of my former employers. When I worked for this company, it's an architectural company, an international company. I used to be the controller, and so when I left, they'd gone through a lot of different transitions and things, but they needed some additional help after I left, because it's a big department. They have a lot of accountants coming in and out. Usually, especially for small firms, when you work with an accountant who does your taxes, sometimes if you're a big company, you have a dedicated CFO. If you're a small firm, you have a tax preparer, and then sometimes you might have a bookkeeper. You don't have an accountant that is maybe a CPA or somebody at that level, at the controller level or the CFO level, that can help you more with strategic planning, more with analyzing your numbers, helping you with forecasting and projections. That's where the outsourced CFO and the outsourced controller comes in. It's You have some folks have people on the inside doing the work, and then the folks on the inside, their accounting skills might be intermediate, or it might be advanced, but not at the additional level. So if you need once your business has gotten to a certain stage, there are times that you need to strategize, right? You need to go do a lot more than just look at numbers, do a lot more than just run payroll. So that's where we come in with those additional services. We're not just reviewing the books, we're doing more strategic planning, goal setting, forecasting, analyzing your budgets, your actual performance versus what you budgeted. That's where that service comes in. And because if you as a small business, most small businesses cannot afford to hire a CFO full time to retain one. So when you outsource that service, it's like, fine, yeah, gosh, I have a CFO, I have a controller that can help me analyze my books and actually go just beyond regular accounting work.
Okay, so I want to uh, have you also
Mhm.
share the difference in the value of having a CPA versus another experienced accountant, because you're not just an accountant, you're offering um, a lot more. But what I do know is
Mhm.
that someone who is not a CPA cannot really do an audit. Is that true?
Yeah, so that is true. The CPAs are the only qualified. If you want what is called a regular audit, the CPAs are the only qualified folks who can do an audit. Accountants can do a lot of things. They can do general accounting, they can do payroll, they can do bookkeeping, they can do billing, they can do payables. The same thing with enrolled agent. Enrolled agents focus more on taxes. Enrolled agents can do general accounting and taxes. But if you want an audited financial statement, that has to be signed off by a CPA, a certified public accountant. That is the one market where we it's dedicated just to CPA. There's a lot of regulation in that market. So um, accountants, everybody, each bucket, whether you're an accountant, government accountant, whether you're in public accounting, whether you are in a not-for-profit accounting, an accountant, an enrolled agent, CPA, we have cross-functional things that skills and roles that everybody does. But then the CPA has additional expertise and additional skills that they bring to the table.
Okay. So follow-up question. What
Mhm.
would be a checklist if someone was in the market for a CPA, or did you mention it was an enrolled agent?
An
Is
enrolled agent, yeah.
what would be some of the things that someone who is just starting, they, because what I always pitch, whether you're starting out and as I'm coaching, you need your fab five on the team. You need an accountant, you need a lawyer, you need a business coach, you need a banker. You need those people to help us to navigate this business space. This is serious business. And
Yes.
if you want to be successful, or I say play in the game that we've been doing, you need these areas of expertise on your, either your personal board of directors, but definitely I say on the team. What are some things that we should be looking for?
Yeah, so you want to look at their credentials, right? So again, I'm not going to diss any of the other professions. If you're a regular accountant, as in you have your bachelor's in accounting, maybe you have a master's, but you did not go all the way to get your certification as a CPA, or you don't have the enrolled agent's license, you're still an accountant. You can still do stuff. There's another lot of knowledge that goes with surviving accounting school, right? Whether it's at
Mhm.
the bachelor level or it's at the master's level, you have a lot of expertise and skills that you can bring to the table. Uh, what you want to do is make sure that you do your research to find out who is this person, what's first of all, know your industry. There are a lot of there's some accountants or CPAs that service specific industries only. I am what we call a generalist, so I do not I'm not buttoned into one area. Recently, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, I was at an event and I was speaking to a couple of CPAs, and they told me that their line is just F&B, food and beverage. All of their clients are in food and beverage. You will have some clients, some CPAs that service only architects. You have some people that specialize in e-commerce. Um, my niche is pretty much small businesses. Small businesses, it doesn't matter whether you're physical therapy, if you have a little restaurant, a cafe, if you are in a service, if it's a coaching client, an interior designer. So I service different industries, all industries, but they're mainly small business clients, small and growing, medium-sized clients. So you want to look at if you are in an area where you think you might need a niche, somebody that is a dedicated expert in your area. So if you're in engineering and you want someone that really knows all the nooks and corners of your industry. If that is not a if that's not an issue, then you just look at the regular qualifications of that person. How long have they been doing what they are doing? If they're in a license profession like the CPA license, have they had any disciplinary actions against them? You don't want someone that's been getting a whole bunch of fines and whatnot. If they are also serving the public, which they should be since they're going to be servicing you, they had, you want to try and find out what the satisfactory level is from their current clients. Is the company open to a lot of, are they exposed to a lot of audits? Have they had, as the IRS or the state government, have they audited a lot of their clients? Because if 50% of their clients are getting audited, maybe they're not the way they do their tax returns or whatever. There might be something fishy going on there. So you want to look at a bunch of the things, their qualifications, their history. uh, if you can, ask for references and try and chat with a couple of their current or past clients and just get a feel for how they work. And then also, yeah, try and find out, how do they work. I work with clients all over. I can service clients, local clients in Staten Island. I have clients who are in different areas of New York City. I have out of state clients, and like I said, I have an international client. So if you're somewhere else, make sure they have the bandwidth, the setup, the infrastructure that they can service you properly. Right now, we're all good with working on Zoom and doing things virtually. Make sure that they're set up their system securely, because we deal with a lot of sensitive issue, right? Sensitive documents for clients, whether it's their banking information or whatever, their financials, their social security. You want to make sure that they set up properly in a virtual, secure manner in which your client's documents are going to be secure and not subject to any, you know, any breach or anything like that.
Okay, so that's a great segue to my next question, because you talked about earlier about those who have gone to school and they may not want to enter into the workforce. They want to open up their own practice. So, what advice could you offer someone who is interested in opening up their tax practice? What could that look like?
So the tax practice, I would say, one, try and work for someone else first
Mm.
before you go out on your own. It's a little bit risky. You have to know what you're doing if you're coming up right out of college and go and opening up shop. I worked for, apart from the companies that I worked for in corporate America, I did internship with a couple of my professors who were CPAs, so I was able to shadow them and see, well, how a small business ran, right? How they did their operations. So you want to do that. Next, you want to do things like, if you can have you mentioned this previously, have that side gig going on. If you unless you happen to come from a very very super wealthy family, nobody has just one thing going on, right?
Right.
You have your main job. You have an Airbnb, you're driving an Uber, you have this business going on, you're selling things on eBay or whatever. So a lot of people have multiple streams of income. You want to make sure you have uh, multiple streams of income before you go full time, and before you're able to dedicate 100% of your time to open up shop. Once you do that, um, you want to get your name out there. If you can, network. That is how you're going to meet. You want to network with people in your field as well as folks outside of your field. In fact, I think for the longest time, I was networking only with people within my field. And I said to myself, finally, I realized, gosh, Orume, there's a world out there. The world is not made up of only CPAs or CPAs and accountants. There are a lot of people out there. So you want to expand your networking skills, because you never know where your business opportunity is going to come from. There are folks established firms. They might have clients that are too small for them, and they will refer those clients out to you. So this is where you networking with somebody within your field could be beneficial for you. Um, what else? There are lots of other things. One mistake I did, I'll tell you about one mistake I did when I opened up my firm was in advertising. So I decided that I told you I got an office space in a commercial building. And then what I did was I rented a billboard that was at a corner at the intersection of my street. I had a billboard, Hays CPA, open for business, payroll, taxes, accounting. And I was like, okay, once I put that out there, I'm advertising, folks are just going to be knocking down the door to come in my office. I tell you, the only clients I got from that billboard, and I had the contract for, I think it was like 6 months. The only clients I got from that billboard was the individual who put up the billboard and the owner of the billboard. Those were the two guys I got from the billboard. Nobody else. So so accountant, I always say that the business of accounting, it's like medical doctors. Usually, sometimes there are two ways that you get your physician, right? You're either going for someone that's referred to you, or you're going for someone that accepts your insurance. So it's the same thing, kind of like with accountants. Folks want to go to somebody that they know has had a positive experience with. And most times, folks tend to stay with, once you find an accountant that's doing a good job for you, they're not going to leave. Folks will stay with that same accountant until they mess up. Then they will look for somebody else. So I would say, you open up shop, concentrate on doing a good job. Once you start to do a good job, the clients will come in the door, and the clients, when they see that your clients, once you're doing a good job for them, they will start to refer you to other clients. And then after a while, you don't have to worry about bringing in business. The business will grow organically. So far, my business has grown organically. Now I'm doing other things to bring in more business and to scale my business. But it's possible for you to start your business from scratch. Some people buy a business, they might buy from somebody that's retiring. If you decide to, if you can evaluate that and look at it. There's always a risk with that, as in anything. If you buy a business, will the clients stay with you? They might stay with you for 1 year, and then they'll leave. So I believe the retention rates, if you acquire a business, an existing business, is about maybe 70, about maybe 60 to 90, depending on a lot of different factors, maybe location, because really most of the time clients, they're building a relationship with that business owner. That's who they have a relationship with. And if the business owner that they know, the original CPA or whoever owns that firm, if that person goes away, then they want to exit. What I would say is, if you're thinking of acquiring a firm, is have a deal in which the person you're acquiring that firm from, you try and get a consulting agreement from that person. Have that person consult with you for 1 year and remain part of the face, as the face of the business, so that clients don't feel like, hey, this person is no longer here. We're now dealing with this new business owner. I'm not so happy with this business owner, even though I haven't even really interacted with them. But I'm like, I miss my old guy. Where's that little person? So if you want to do something like that, do a merger or a slow exit instead of just acquiring an egg. And folks tend to react differently with situations like that.
Okay, so I have a very this is all so good, but it leads me to a question that came up that I had no clue what to say, because I didn't know what, I've never experienced it. So you've been with your CPA, your accountant, your tax preparer forever, and they pass away, unfortunately. What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. That's a good question. In fact, that is something that we saw a number of our colleagues, that a lot of people experienced that during COVID. Right, we lost the whole country as a whole. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and sometimes we're all just working, we want to say that everyone should have a succession plan. I'm ashamed to say that I do not have a succession plan right now. It's still a work in progress,
Yep.
but that's what happens, right? If somebody's been in, they have a practice, they don't have a succession plan. Maybe it's a solo practitioner like myself. That doesn't mean you might have support staff, or you're the only CPA, and you don't have anything in. You should always have a backup plan. So what you do in the case for the consumer, um, for the clients, the best thing is for if the business owner, the CPA, has a relationship with another CPA. This is what a lot of CPAs do. They will have another a relationship with a close CPA where it's like that their backup person. Hey, if something happens to me, if something happens to my firm, you're my succession plan. You have access to my client list, or you have a staff member, a senior manager, a staff member who knows all the details of your company. They have access to all your company records. Hey, this is you have my client list, you have my contact list. Contact my clients, let them know what the deal is. Make sure everybody has access to their information. We've heard stories. I've heard stories of clients being left out on the leash because they couldn't get access to their records. Nobody told them what was going on. So it's a tricky, that's a delicate situation. It's a challenging one. There is no one solution to solve that issue. It all depends on what kind of structure the owner of the firm puts in place. If they have some kind of system in place, if they have a relationship and they've made a collaborative agreement with somebody else to help them transition, when that happens.
And I'm glad we're talking about that, because we're human, so things happen. But on the curious, on the consumer side, it's like, what do you do? Because the truth is, we're all afraid of the IRS. That is that's the truth. We're trying to get more educated about it. Not experts. I don't want to be an expert. I just want to be educated. Me personally, I want to be educated about, tax laws. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tap into the experts who know, does this make sense? How do you interpret this? But then things do come up when there's a shift, either in a relationship, person, etc. So it's good to know what is happening within that space, and that, the client won't be left out.
Yeah.
If they, and then the other thing too, I want to tell everyone that we need to behave as it relates to our tax professionals. If they tell us to send something, send your documents. If we're informed to utilize a system such as QuickBooks, this is not a paid advertisement, but please send it. Please update your account.
Yes,
Documents. And I'm saying that because I used to be one of them. I'm saying that, but I was only doing that because I was just busy. Like and it's not like I didn't have it. It was just getting, things like, what's the not 1099 documents at the end of the year. You have to wait sometimes for clients to give that to you. But thankfully, if you have it in a bank account and everything is separate, right? Business from personal.
Yes, exactly. The very important point there. Keep those personal and business transactions separate. No commingling of funds in a bank account or in your QuickBooks or anything like that. So,
yeah, we need to behave. So I can admit that I've improved over the past 4 years. I've improved. Prior to that, I was probably the worst client because it was just navigating. It is becoming organized, having your documents, everything in order, so that when you have to do, if you're set up, based on how you're set up, your quarterly filing or whatever it is that you have to do, it is a pull down, a download, and let your tax professional cuss you out. But let's behave. I'm gonna say it. Let's behave.
I support that 100%. Thank you for saying that. We absolutely need that. So folks, listen to Anita. She knows what she's talking about. It's the best thing. And if you set things up properly, the if you're doing things right from the get-go, you will maintain the flow. You'll be able to keep it going. It's when you start off, commingling stuff and trying to keep your record. Sometimes we think that we want to save a buck here, right? We don't want to get QuickBooks, or we don't want to put things in a computerized accounting program. You're going to try and do things manually or do it in Excel. Folks, there are free programs, free accounting softwares out there. Wave is one of them, WAVE, Wave Accounting. You can connect Wave to your bank account, to your business credit card. It will download all your transactions. You just want to make sure you're going in there and coding your transactions regularly, daily or monthly, depending on the level of business activity that you have. You can do it weekly or once a month, or you want to try and do these things routinely and not wait till the end of the year and try and catch. Can you imagine? That's where a lot of business folks get into trouble. You're trying to do 1 year's transaction within do all of the accounting within 1 month, and then get the information to your tax preparer in time so that they can do your tax return. Or you want to apply for a bank loan, you need to get them financials, and then you don't have a good set of books to give to your banker. We need to take all those things into consideration. So the better you set things up in a good structure, in a formal way, you'll be able to it will impact the way your business is successful, because you're setting yourself up for success by doing things properly, accounting wise. Nobody loves accounting. We want you to be successful at what it is that you're doing. You have a beauty shop, you have a hair salon, you have an auto mechanic shop, whatever your business is. We want you to concentrate on your business, delegate the accounting work to somebody else who knows what they're doing, so that it's done properly and you can have a successful business.
Let's do better. Let's do better. Let's treat our tax professionals with grace. They are human, and do what you're supposed to do, people.
Yes.
Because I can tell you, it is being on this side, it is stressful, and I can only imagine the level of responsibility and pressure that tax professionals such as Orume may have. And Orume, I really appreciate, and I know there's so much more we can talk about, but I do not want to take any more of your beautiful time, because I'll get you again. Not in tax season though, because tax season is
Correct.
always one of those things. But
Yeah.
I do want to have you just share any final thoughts that you may have, and then before we wrap up, I have some rapid rapid questions that I can talk to you about, just for fun. Just tell us something else good as a final word.
I would just say, keep this in mind. Your CPA, we're your trusted advisors. That's our tagline, and that's what we're more than just somebody who does numbers. We're your trusted advisors. I don't know I cannot tell you the number of clients that they confide in you about what's going on with their business. Sometimes they share personal things. Sometimes some folks say that we sometimes we have a therapy software in our offices, because sometimes clients just want to unload to you, and that's okay. We'll listen, because we want you to feel comfortable to be able to confide with us. If you're thinking about how will my business, why my divorce affect me, what does my retirement look like, what does when should I take out Social Security, we want you to be comfortable enough to discuss all of these things with us, because we are here to serve you. We're your trusted advisor. It's not just a tagline, it's something that we believe strongly in. So if you're working with a CPA, that CPA has your back.
And on that note, Orume, I want to thank you. But before I let you go, I got some fun questions to ask out of curiosity. What's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal. The one thing that comes to mind, I don't know that it's my favorite, but I actually just saw this on TV, and I did not know. There are a couple of I don't know if you've heard of jollof rice. It's a African delicate dish. It's made in we have it in Nigeria, but apparently Ghana has jollof rice, so does
Mm.
Senegal. And there was a competition on I can't remember the show now, one of the TV shows, in which they wanted to know which country made the best jollof rice, and they did a blind taste. And apparently Nigeria has the best jollof rice, so I'll go with Nigeria as
Okay.
jollof rice.
Okay. So, what's your preference these days? Wearing heels or sneakers?
Oh, I love my sneakers. I think it all depends on what the occasion is and where I'm going to. So, but I love sneakers because they're comfortable, and we want to be comfortable. If you're going to be someplace for a very long time, I want to be comfy. So, conferences now, when I go for professional conferences, I tend to wear sneakers. I'm going from conference room to work, conference room, from seminar to seminar. That way I can make sure I get to my seminar to the next thing on time. So yeah, sneakers.
Ice cream or smoothie?
I just had an ice cream yesterday, so I love my ice cream.
What do you do for self care?
Oh, self care right now. For self care, I am taking time to practice my golf. That's what I don't know if that's enough of self care, but that's what I'm doing. But I do things like make sure I pamper myself and get a manicure and a pedi and stuff like that. So I make sure I do that. Yeah.
Any book recommendations?
Also, one book recommendation. I always do this. Maury. I'm going to massacre her last name now. I'll have to get that to you. But she has a great book on bargaining,
Mm.
on negotiations. I forget the title of the book now, but that is a great book that I think that everybody should read. One of the things that I got, I'll just give you one of the takeaways from that book. Sometimes we negotiate against ourselves, and she
Mhm.
talked, where you're going to ask somebody for something, right? And at the end of your ask, you say, "Oh, but if you don't want to do it, it's okay." You've already given that power away. It's like you're negotiating against yourself. So it's a really good book. I'll have to get that the title and the author. I'll get that information to you afterwards.
Okay, awesome. Legacy that you want to leave for yourself, for your family, for your business, for this world.
Oh, I think my legacy should be she came, she saw, she contributed, and that's it. I think like I said, I told you earlier, I teach the College of Staten Island. I also advise at Hunter College, where I'm a graduate advisor. But if I am able to bring a lot of students into the accounting world, hey, my job is done. I'm happy.
On that note, I want to thank you so much, Arume. This was phenomenal. At some point again, we will have to meet in this space and talk more
Absolutely.
about, how to make the IRS sexy. I guess I don't know.
That's a work in progress. How to make accounting sexy. That is also a work in progress. We're working on it.
But if you want to contact Arume and her team, please call 347-286-0498, or you can visit Hays.cpa. What a great way to end off this conversation. And I'm looking forward to having you come back. And I also want to say, listen, Arume is a part of my cohort. We belong to the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business. We're cohort 40.
Yes.
We were the original Excel.
Yes, indeed. We're born together now for life. We're not going
No,
anywhere. Cohort 40, Goldman Sachs. Thank you for bringing us together. And
no.
thank you, Anita, for having me today.
I appreciate you so much. I'm giving you virtual kisses. Enjoy the rest of your
Right
day.
back at
All
you.
right, take good
Yes.
care.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
And so there you have it, folks. I want to tell you how relieved I feel by just chatting with Arumi. I just want to plug contact information again. Please contact Arume and her team at 347-286-0498. And I just want to share some gems because, a lot of times when we're in this space, again, I am not a certified TPA. That is not my jam. I know basic, information about taxes, but that is information that, someone who has experience, who you feel most comfortable with. Orume mentioned, if you are interested in transitioning into this space, please make sure that you conduct your research, do the research. And also, I want to also say, because I've plugged this before, but Orume just confirmed the loveliness of all of the libraries within New York State. Specifically in New York City, there are a few that I absolutely positively love. They're resourceful for doing research. Just, pack your snack, spend some time there. You have a number of business resources there, specifically at the Science Industry Business Library in the city, and it's phenomenal. Free information. So do your research. If you're just starting, it's okay to continue to working while you're fulfilling this other dream that you have. A lot of times in the beginning, we may not have all of the savings, but make sure that you plan it out, have enough savings and considerations and other variables within this space of entrepreneurship. Because if you have a family, if you have children, remember, it's not everyone's dream to be in this space. So you want to make sure that if you do have a family, that you are considering and building into what their needs are within this space while you are pursuing this dream of yours, which also means creating an initial budget. And also want to mention the OGs are out there. There are a number of free mentoring services that you can take advantage of. Orume mentioned SCORE. SCORE is built and designed for entrepreneurs. And also, guess what? It's for free. You'll find me in New York City. So if you want to tap into me, I am with the New York City chapter of SCORE. I also want to mention what Orume mentioned when sourcing accounting services, verified credentials. Having this time that you're spending with a tax professional is really important. If you want someone that's industry specific, make sure you know your industry, because there are so many tax professionals out there. Ask for references and seek companies that have a good reputation. One, that doesn't mean that they, as Orume mentioned, having numerous challenges or audits that come within their specific tax practice. Audits do happen. That's a part of the process. But when it becomes so frequent, as was mentioned, you may want to find another organization to work with. And also, there are some resources that was offered, Wave Accounting, QuickBooks, and Orume was very, very thoughtful in saying that tax professionals become and are your trusted advisors. So it's important for you as a consumer to figure out how you are going to either find that person, that advisor that will help you to become more informed about your overall financial picture. And I'm going to say that we need to do better as business owners, because it becomes one of those things where we are causing ourselves, and I will admit it for myself, a lot of stress and angst because we're not prepared. And our preparedness and our responsibility comes with utilizing tools and resources. You do not have to do the research, because the IRS has, if you go on their website, there's a significant amount of information, pages and pages of rules. If you want to take the time to read that, perfect. However, understand that with that comes our responsibility as well. And there's a level of accountability as business owners that we need to have in this space. We sign off on our taxes. And so it's important for us not to point fingers back at the person who is helping us to prepare and navigate that space. So let us do better. Let us behave. And if you are interested again in looking for accounting services, please contact Orume and her team at 347-286-0498, or you can visit hayscpa.com. I also wanted to share that if you are interested in tapping into our services at 11375, we are excited to have you, 718-691-8966, or you can email us at info@11375.com. We are on the social platforms at 11375.com. I'm so glad that you had an opportunity to check in. Please do not hesitate to like, share, and follow us on the platform, but also leave us a comment and review. We will be sure to follow up with you at our earliest convenience. And so thank you again for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye-bye. This week I have been dealing with the role that I play as a leader, manager, business owner. And something that came up frequently, specifically this week, deals with the fact of how we treat the people that partner or choose to work with our business. And every day there is always a choice to uplift or a choice to bring down. And that choice is daily. Do I minimize the people that are helping to grow my vision, my dream, or do I provide a space where we are growing and developing together? It's not easy. Every day is a choice. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.